Guitar Moves. This is Jason Isbell. And thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. I'm very happy that you're here.
I'm super stoked. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. And I figured that we do acoustic chatter because your new record is just you and an acoustic guitar.
Just me and an acoustic guitar.
Did you start playing on an acoustic guitar?
It was sort of simultaneous because my granddad, he played acoustic, like old time music, gospel and like hillbilly music and stuff. He played in church. He had this big dreadnought, big Takamine. I've got it over there now, but it's like the Martin lawsuit Takamines from the 70s.
Yeah.
And so he taught me to play, like G, C, D, E, just the basic chords. And then he would play fiddle or banjo or mandolin, and I would be playing like this rhythm all day.
And did he show you that rhythm?
He did, yeah.
How did he break it down? I mean, because again, this is the shit that I'm always super interested in.
Yeah.
Already with your right hand, there's stuff going on.
Yeah,
and I'm curious how he put it, if you could recall how he put it to you, and like how
Well,
to
he
make it
played
happen.
with finger picks, so
Okay.
he would keep on his banjo finger picks, but he would play like thumb and then first finger. So he would do the.
And you're alternating with the bass.
Yeah, it's basically like a kick drum and a snare drum. So
Yep.
it's like. But the hard part is trying to figure out how to isolate, the bass notes.
Did you start that way, doing just what we're doing now?
Well, I started with the chords with my left hand, and I remember a very significant moment. His son, my dad's little brother, played in a rock band, and I was trying to learn the alternating picking pattern. I was having so much trouble with it. I was probably like 8 years old, and it was freaking me out, and I'd been strumming, but I hadn't been like picking out individual notes. And he taught me Simple Man. Taught me that, but I got frustrated with it, and I was like, I came back. He's like, okay, go home, practice that for a week, come back, and I'll show you the rest of the song. But I was going,
right.
And I showed up with that, and he was like, that's not how it goes. And I was like, that's close.
You're like, it is how it
that's
goes, right?
My dad was there. My dad was like, come here. So we went in another room in the house. My dad was like, your uncle's not getting paid to do this. He has a job that he does every day, and he doesn't like his job, and he's having you over here to show you how to play guitar. So if he's going to take his time to show you how to do it, you're going to take the time to learn it. So you show up next week, you're going to have that part down, or we're not going to come back over here and do this anymore. I was like, all right. So I went back home, and for hours went...
Okay.
It's a whole phrase.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not the same thing twice. The first time you roll, you're going.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's where the phrase ends. Skinner, like they would work everything out so closely,
every second,
where they could, they didn't even realize, like on the Freebird outro, they didn't know they were trying. They thought they were trying that again, and Al Cooper had them doing multiple takes, but he was stacking them, layering them, and they didn't know.
Huh.
In his book, he talks about how like they just had it worked out that perfectly that he could just stack it and it just sounded like a automatic double tracking machine or something. But so it had to be like they were very specific about how you picked, what the order was.
Is there a pattern to that or to that?
That's
is it every other?
Honestly, I think more. It's not as much of a visual pattern as far as string skipping.
Okay.
I mean, you could
rhythm
write
pattern.
it out, but I don't think it repeats enough to count as a visual. I think it's just a melodic pattern, really.
Right.
Because they wanted to end on that. and then
the
let
rock
that,
will-
which kind of reminds you of like in Cortez. This note.
Oh yeah.
The way it rings over the rest of the, as the change starts over, it's a similar sort of
It's
cycle.
it's like a pickup.
It is.
Roll in.
And I love that because that just kind of makes the tension just right before you shift gears into the next time around.
What would you tell a kid right now if they just got an acoustic guitar?
Get it set up. Spend the 50 or 80 or $100, and before you leave the music store, let them set it up for you.
And by set it up, you mean?
Set the action right, make sure the frets are level, make sure it'll stay in tune. That is so huge, and I wish somebody would have told me that when I was a kid, because of course you're not going to be able to afford a incredible instrument when you're that age. Most kids aren't. But yeah, if you spend the extra time, the extra money, you get home and you can play it. It makes all the difference in the world.
Because it's not as hard to play. If you get it set up, like, guitar hurts a bit when you start playing. It
And the
just
old
does.
guys will say it's supposed to. You'll
Right.
get the calluses.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to hurt that bad.
No, you don't want people to stop playing because it hurts.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when I was teaching lessons, when I was like in my early 20s, I was teaching some lessons at a community center outside of Memphis. And I always wanted kids to start off on electric. And all the old guys would say, start on acoustic, because then when you go to electric, it's so much
easier,
easier.
right.
But I think start is easy. You don't want to quit. That's the only thing. You don't want to quit playing. So like start with something that doesn't hurt. Yeah, I would say also sing along.
That's really
Always
good.
sing along. As you're strumming chords, sing melodies too. It doesn't matter, the words can be gibberish. That's how a lot of people start writing songs. It's just, I think, what was yesterday? It was
Scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
That's how the greatest of all time, right? So it's just start singing words while you're playing, even from the very beginning.
Yeah, and nonsense words are great. And yeah, and I'm really glad you said that, because I mean, even like the whole point of the show isn't to be a shredder on guitar; it's to play music. You know what I mean?
That's the whole point of everything,
yeah,
right?
you know,
like this street, there's probably 20 different people on here who can outplay me on guitar just before you get back out to the highway. But nobody's enjoying making music more.
Right.
you know?
Right. What's a good finger picking pattern that that we could show people who haven't played before, or people who have played before, just something that would be useful?
I love, this was one that I used to do when I was a kid, the Bells of St. Mary's. I love that chord, yeah. So it's really just a C.
Slow it down for this fool.
And then you just slide your first finger up. So you're just making a G there and there. And then you keep those two pushed down and you slide them up. And then you put your pinky down. Yeah. That's just an F. Then up to the C. D position for the G, then back to the C. Back up. So you're just kind of basically these 1, 2, 3.
Those are the shapes.
4, 5 shapes.
Those are the shapes.
Yeah, and you're
When
just
did you
making-
start thinking about things in shapes? Sorry.
Yeah, that was early because my granddad was really serious about bar chords. Him and my uncle both were like, "You're gonna know how to play a bar chord
All the way through.
all the way up," and it was what they call bar E and bar A.
Okay, bar.
Yeah. So that's
So,
just
and that means if this is an E chord and that's an A chord, then a bar.
you're just moving the nut
Yeah.
up the neck. So
Yeah.
you're taking this and moving it up, so you can make G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Or you can make A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
And they'd make sure that you're going all the way.
All the notes, because it's tough to learn. Bar chords are the biggest pain in the ass of all guitar playing.
Fact.
Learning, the number
Fact.
one pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And if you can get past that hump, congratulations, you can be a guitar player forever now.
That's really true.
That's really the one thing that it takes. Like, can you play the bar chords without like just kind of stopping and like going off and doing something different? So that's really just those patterns, and then this.
So this is a C shape.
Yeah. So you kind of get that. That's what I would do, is get that going first.
Okay, and what's that pattern? So the top is going.
Yeah. Bum, 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 bum. That's the melody. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, yeah, so once you get that little walk going right there, it's also like, I mean, that's
so
the
thumb's going. And then you're
Yeah.
and then
Then you're doing the melody. And that's the thing, is to separate those two, where you get the thumb going and get it steady. But really, it's not as much about that as it's about taking tiny little chunks of it at a time. And I don't do it like actual finger style. Like, there's some things, like I'll play If We Were Vampires, I'll do. Comes straight out of that song that I just showed you, the Bells of St. Mary. Like, there's no way I would have written that song
without knowing the other
without
thing.
knowing the other thing. And it's not like everybody listening to my music goes, "Oh, he listened to Chet Atkins when he was a little kid." So you just get to cycle it in and mix it all up. But it wouldn't have come out like that. But this one is more like, if you're trying to learn how to do that, take it in chunks, because you have to figure out where to put the notes in between the other notes.
That's what I always think of as like, and I always think of it as like you're either pinching at the same time or playing in between.
Exactly.
It's
It's
kinda
exactly.
like-
Yeah. It's
yeah,
either a
like-
double stop
That's it. Yeah. So so a double stop means what?
when you're hitting two notes at the same time. Yeah. Or you're alternating.
And alternating is in between.
Yeah. And then here, you're hitting both of them at the same time. That one
And then you're
hitting
anticipating?
alternate. Yes, that's a dotted note. Both. Both. Push. And it also kind of sounds like human nature, because it's got that.
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like Michael a little bit. I love that riff, the human nature. It's so good. It's so good, that song. Oh, those melodies. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, take it a chunk at a time.
And slow it down. Did you slow it down?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when the first, I was like,
Yeah.
when something like that happens, when it's like you get that, that's so rewarding.
Yeah.
Because you think, oh, that sounds like I'm really doing something.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I just landed.
Yes, and I landed.
Yeah.
But you got to slow it down. And you really have to, if not fall in love with the failure of it, you got to at least be able to tolerate it forever. Because you don't get rewarded from alternate picking or fingerstyle or hybrid
until you
do it.
Yeah.
And so the rewards are you just get a little treat every once in a while. Like the biggest one in that song for me was going. When I did that the first time and it worked, I was like, oh my God, put me on a train, give me a little bindle stiff, you know. Because it felt like, oh, I'm in the 30s, I'm rocking and rolling, you know. But those rewards are so few and far between. You have to really love the instrument and the sound that it makes, or you got to be patient.
I didn't understand the number system until I was actually hired to work on something in Nashville, and everybody was sitting around writing things down. Do you think that you could do a quick walkthrough of what the number system is that maybe somebody could learn? All right.
So it kind of works the same way as a capo. Like whatever your root chord is. So if you're playing Wish You Were Here, you're in G. G is your 1. Because that's the one you hit the most often. That's G, that's where the song is, that's the bass, that's the root. That's your 1. So then when you go to this chord, that's an E minor. So it's 6.
And how is it 6?
And say you start, G is the 1. So you got G, A, B, C, D, E. 6. So you just count up 1. So you just replace the letter with a number, and you just count up. But you have to do it in the scale. So if you're in G major, then your 6 is going to naturally be minor.
Right.
It's going to be an E minor. You know, because if you're playing this, it's not going to sound right. It's kind of badass, but it's not exactly what's supposed to be. It's like Johnny Cash would go. And that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Actually, matter of fact, now I kind of want to write that song, you know. But the natural 6 in the G major scale is an E minor, you know. And so what you're normally using, the thing that you will use the most will be the 1. Let's say the G is the 1. The 4, which is a C.
Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right. 1. And then the 5, which is a D.
4.
Yep. 5, 4, 1. And then you will use the 6 minor sometimes. And every once in a while, you'll use the 2 minor, which is an A minor. So if you're in G, next letter is A, because it only goes up to G, so then you use A minor as your 2. So if you're playing 1, 6, 4, 5, which is a pretty typical progression, you'll see it a lot on charts.
Right.
You go 1, 6, 4, 5, 1, 6, 4, 5. And that is like everybody's heard that. That's the whole
everything.
50s. That's 1953 to 1956 on the radio.
Yep. Every song.
Yeah, everything. Somebody dies in a car, and there's your fucking hit, you know. But it's really for singers, you know, and it's something that the musicians learn, but they learn it for singers who don't know exactly what key they're in. And back in the day, the singer would come in, especially country singers, they'd be out drinking and smoking all night. And a song that you would do in A normally, you might want to drop it down because they had a long night. So you drop it down to G.
Right.
A little easier to sing, and then you don't have to write it out twice. If you write it with the G as a 1 instead of as a G, when you move that key, you just use the same chart. All you have to do is know what the 1 is and kind of ingrain that.
This is, you know, for the ages, what can we show? I'd kind of like, oh, you know what? Let's show them DADGAD too.
Yeah, let's show them DADGAD. So let's do DADGAD. So So you drop this top string from E down to D.
And you use the top D string to kind of.
And then take the B, the second from the bottom B, drop it down to A. And then your bottom string, the E, drop that down to D. So you got this kind of droning. It's D-A-D-G-A-D, droning, and it can be way too pretty, but also like I think what I was doing, because I play the song "Ride to Roberts" on Foxes in the Snow. I play it in DADGAD, and it's sort of like a musically, it's a little bit of a Richard Thompson tribute.
Richard Thompson being the great English guitar player and songwriter at Fairport Convention.
Just the baddest dude on earth.
Yeah.
Like I had, not long after I moved to Nashville, I was doing like an in the round, which they do a lot of here, where you sort of sit in a circle and songwriter will play, and then the next songwriter, and you do one song at a time. And Richard was on it.
Oh, Jesus.
And thank God I knew this.
Were you in the circle?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Thank God I knew this coming in.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to get there early and sit to his right. So I got there like an hour early. There was nobody in. I was like, will you guys let me in? I went up and sat down in the chair to make sure that I didn't have to follow him every time. Okay? I was like, I'm sitting to Richard's right, or I'm not doing this,
That's really smart.
That guy is like, as far as like full-on songwriter and musician, very hard to beat.
He's the guy who gave me the idea to do this show, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a BBC, I'll send it to you. He did a BBC show and about just some things of how to play guitar, and I thought it was brilliant, and that's where I got the idea.
Okay, all right. Well, when I was a kid, like late teens, early 20s, I would tune the guitar in DADGAD, and I would smoke a joint, and I would just do like. And just over and over and over and over, because it was so rewarding and not as hard as it sounds. Because tuning,
I know it sounds so good, but I'm seeing what you're doing.
It's not all that much. I'm not moving, and you can also do like. Got sort of obsessed with that tuning for that reason, but then Ride to Roberts came out of that, and I had the song like, which I thought sounds a lot like Richard, especially that. You can hear that. Yes, exactly. I was like, well, I might as well put an intro and an outro that sounds like Richard, so I came up with the. But that was just in the studio. Yeah, there you go. But you kind of have to put this finger in a weird spot, so I had to train my hand to go. But this part's cool, where you go up.
I noticed that one of the reasons that you always sound good is because you do the thing where open strings playing against other notes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's like a Neil. And again, it's just something that no guitar teacher ever told me about, and then you're listening to Neil Young, you're like, why does that always sound good? It's like, because he's always has one open string and some other string
Yeah,
up
and Billy
against it.
Gibbons is the master
The god.
of that shit. Like
Yeah.
he'll play one note with a ringing, like
Yep.
it just sounds so much better than.
Yep. Man, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
man.
having us over, and I really would love to come back and do an electric one too.
Yeah,
or
we
whatever,
should do
but
that sometime.
like,
I love it.
thanks so much, because I hope that this helps any of you out there, and thank you, Jason Isbell, because
Super
you're
fun.
really great, man. Thanks.
Thank you.